Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before I get to today's guests, I'd like to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors. And these are a group of companies that provide a tremendous amount of financial support for our association, in large part so that we can continue to be that strong voice for the real estate finance industry before the California State Legislature and our regulators. So I'd like to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors, and those companies include AmeriHome, Arch MI, Consolidated Analytics, Funding Shield, Guild Mortgage, Accelerate, Rocket Mortgage, and Western Alliance Bank. Thank you all so much for your support in 2023. We greatly appreciate it. And with that, I'm very happy to welcome today's guest. I'm happy to welcome Michael Pearson from A&D Mortgage. Michael, welcome.
Great. It's great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Happy to have you on Connect. So I'd love to get started with people's background and how they came to the mortgage industry. So why don't you tell us what brought you into the mortgage business?
Sure. No, I went to school to be a mortgage broker. Does anyone ever answer that way? We all kind of get into this a different direction, right?
I was 5. I wanted to be a mortgage banker. Yeah, nobody ever says that.
Right. So Mike Pearson, Senior VP at A&D Mortgage, work in business development. So I got into this business in 2001 for Chase Manhattan Mortgage Corporation, it was called at that time, and their wholesale unit, so working with mortgage broker businesses. So I started in operations and underwriting and closing and all the behind the scenes stuff, worked my way into sales, and that's kind of where I started in the business. I've done everything from correspondent to retail, wholesale, across the spectrum over the last 20 plus years.
Wow, you have done it all. That gives you a great background. Most people have like one or two, but it sounds like you have a wide swath.
We keep busy, yes.
So, 2023, definitely one of the more challenging years we've had in quite some time. What can a company do to, be competitive in a purchase market like this?
A very difficult business. We have talks with our customers across, the multi-channels that we work, and it's about diversifying what we're doing. Definitely, there's a lot of margin compression and things happening from a pricing perspective, so staying sharp with that, streamlining business operations to make sure that you're, working the business that we're blessed to get as efficiently and as quickly as possible. Those are some of the things that we talk about, definitely being, aggressive with new product ideas to reach new customers. It's a tricky time for sure, but people are managing, people are, getting sharp with what they're doing, and we're starting to see business rebound in some sectors.
How does A&D set themselves apart from their competitors?
So we work really hard on the process and delivering technology for our customers, resources that they can use to get, like I said, more business done more efficiently, more quickly. So we do a lot of investment, even in downtimes like right now. We're putting huge investments into technology, whether that's OCR technology or whether that's a better customer portal interface to be able to process loans faster. Any of those things that can sharpen the lead time and less back and forth, making it more efficient to do business. And that's the direction that we're going into, trying to make the business a little bit more streamlined and what can be a very confusing industry at times, so that we can deliver the best process that we can to our customers.
Great, that's wonderful. You'd mentioned just a moment ago, diversifying products and, making sure that you can deliver to, every type of borrower. What are some opportunities in the non-QM lending space right now?
So we're seeing, that's one area of growth that I have seen over the last 6 months or so is in the non-QM space. And I've had this conversation a lot. When we first started seeing these programs, it was kind of a one size fits all, self-employed borrower, bank statement kind of loans. The space within the non-QM realm has really changed significantly. There is a loan for almost any type of borrower who is unable to find traditional financing, with two factors. One, their ability to repay the mortgage, and two, that they're buying a property that fits guidelines. But other than that, there is a lot of alternative financing. We've seen a huge growth in self-employed borrowers. We've seen a huge growth into foreign nationals, so foreign borrowers that are investing in the United States. And then second mortgages, we see that all over the place, whether it's HELOCs or we do a lot of fixed rate second mortgages, a tremendous amount of growth in those areas. And that's really, helped stabilize us, so those are some of the things that we're seeing in the non-QM space.
So it's fantastic. You're taking a wide view of the whole market, right? Take all the opportunities that you can.
Yeah, you have to look for opportunities where they are. You look at where there's activities. We see, like I said, a lot of foreign borrowers that are investing in the U.S. That's an opportunity. We see borrowers who have equity tied up into properties where they may not want to refinance their first mortgage because they were blessed to get the rates of 2021. So accessing equity through second mortgages to take care of things that they want to do. And then there's always a need for borrowers who are purchasing properties who, with the higher interest rates especially, are unable to qualify for traditional financing, looking for ways to provide alternative documentation to get loans done.
Right. So talking about those borrowers that, in today's market, how are you working with brokers that might be combating some fears of their clients about whether or not it's the right time to buy? We've had such low interest rates for so long. Now we're at the highest rates in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Are you working with brokers as they're reaching out to their borrowers about this market?
Well, obviously, like anything else, it starts with a conversation about what are the needs and what are the goals of the borrower, right? Like that's where it really starts. We live in the United States where the biggest wealth driver is equity, home equity in a property, right?
Sure.
So, getting into a mortgage is a positive step financially. That is very difficult in a high rate environment in areas with the U.S. where values are starting to either stop the growth or starting to shrink down a little bit. It's definitely a more difficult conversation, but getting into a home and starting to grow equity and starting to build wealth for your family is an important step, and most most families across the U.S. So we talk about that. We talk about ways to get in to mortgages. We do talk, although none of us have a crystal ball of when rates may drop, there is a potential refinance opportunity should at some point the rates start to dip back down into a range where that would make it worth it for them to do. It all starts with a conversation with the borrower and what they're looking to do, and where the value is for that family.
Right. I think that's good advice. Talking with communication, key factor to any transaction like that, right?
Absolutely.
So Michael, we talked at the beginning of our conversation about, your career. You've had a long, successful career in the mortgage industry. What advice would you give to someone who's just starting out?
Just starting out, one, it's always networking and partnering with people, right? So it starts with humans, it starts with communication. That's always a great place to start. We're in a tricky environment when it comes to guidelines, but knowing what you can do, knowing what you can do for borrowers, knowing what other opportunities there are out there. But at the same time, striking the balance of not trying to do everything and be everything to everyone. Find areas of opportunity within your networks and really become the master at those programs and within those networks to be the expert, not kind of know a little bit about a lot of things, but really be the subject matter expert in that topic or program.
Oh, that's great advice. And this is a great industry for networking. I think people want to help new entrants into the market. They want to pass on their knowledge. So I think that's a great aspect of the mortgage industry.
Without a doubt, working with your lenders, finding out what they do, and it's more important than ever to really spend the time to understand your investors and your takeouts and who you're delivering loans to, what makes them tick, what gets the loans done quickly and smoothly so that you're not having all the back and forth and the clunkiness that can come along when you're, trying out a new lender, right? So really spend the time to invest, pare down your relationships to what really suits your business, and then just execute on that. You're going to deliver a better experience for your client, and you're going to save yourself a lot of headaches.
That's great advice. Thank you. I am very grateful for the support that A&D Mortgage has given to the California MBA. Thank you for your membership. You participate in different committees and activities with our association. We're grateful for that. Can you share with our listeners why A&D chooses to invest in the California MBA?
Well, we find it incredibly important for people to get dialed into trade associations. The education specific to the MBA, the education resources, we rely on a lot of the economic reports and things that you put together. So it's really a give back for all that you do for your members, and that you do for, even non-members across your area, the resources that are done. And we have these conversations, whether we're speaking to mortgage broker communities, mortgage lending communities, bankers. Get involved with your associations on the local, state, national level. It's incredibly important. And we find, almost person by person, people who are dialed in and involved in trade associations have a higher level of professionalism, higher level of education in the programs, and it's easy for us to be involved because the customers that we work with are involved as well.
Well, that's good. And again, thank you so much for your support for our association. We really appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's great to be involved.
And thanks for being on Connect today. This has been a great conversation. I will hope to see you at one of our events sometime here in the future.
I'm out there all the time. I'd love to get together.
And thanks to all of you for joining us on today's episode of Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. That's it for this week, and we'll see you next time on Connect.